welcome to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. I'm Cody.
Podcast over. Took my thunder from me. I'm
Hey.
Matt. I guess.
I've been saving that one for a little while.
Yeah, for 21 episodes, apparently.
I know. That's why I really just wanted to jump into.
One of these days, I'm going to get you, fucker. Oh, my gosh. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 22.
It's just like the disappointment in your face when I did that. You're just like, God damn it, he got me.
Today, we're talking about movies Orphan and the Unborn.
You just hear the disappointment in your voice.
We're trying to keep the shit going. Can we keep going? You're gonna laugh about it the whole time? This is gonna be the whole hour just you fucking laughing at the look on my face?
Yes.
I'd like to do this thing.
Okay. Woo.
Alright, Cody. What's something you love and something you hate? While I go smash my head through a wall until I forget this moment in my life.
Well, like, it's just the best thing ever because you're like, yeah, you were set before you started recording. You're like, damn it, I forgot what I was going to do for the opening. And I'm just sitting there like, press record. And you're just like, I'll just do a regular one. It's
fucking
okay.
almost 11 at night. This has been a while since we've done a late night recording like this.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you good?
I think so.
Okay, what's something you love, something you hate?
Something I hate is actually, I know it's like first world problems and stuff like that, but it's honestly something that I really hate is actually just fucking phones. Just because like, cause I'm with Cricket, and
Right.
like ever since smartphones like really became a thing and everything, like I have never had a smartphone for like longer than a year before I have to replace it, and it makes me like kind of wish that like we were back to the old flip phone days, because me and because I had to get a new phone, so I got a new phone. And I am gonna say, if you are a person that uses Cricket or AT&T and stuff, don't get like their modeled phones or whatever, like phones that they get through just them. Definitely stick with like iPhones or Samsungs or LGs, because like they're better quality phones. Because I had a ZTE Blade, and that thing fucking broke within 6 months. Like, within my first month of getting it, because it was made specifically for, like, watching and recording videos. And, like, I got it because, like, that was around the time we were talking about doing the podcast and stuff. And I wanted to get a phone with good picture quality and video quality. And the guy was like, oh, yeah, this is the best phone for that. And then within a month, like, if I did a full screen video, like, it would just short out within, like, 30 seconds of it. And then anytime I had it plugged in, like, my Snapchat wouldn't be able to work. It'd get like lag super bad to the point where like if I took a picture, it would take like 2 minutes just so I can type and send the snap.
Well, and I mean, the thing is that most phones are built that way to actually just like fail after a certain amount of time, or else, I mean, because you gotta look at it like this, like no one's gonna make a phone that works forever.
No, I understand that.
There's no money in it.
It's just like the thing that I'm disappointed about is the fact that like the fact that we're also relying on our phones. Like you absolutely need a phone nowadays.
I mean, especially for us, like
yeah,
I do everything like. Everything I do for the podcast is through my phone, basically.
Yeah, and same here. But like, when me and the guy were talking, me and the clerk were talking and stuff while he was like setting up my new phone, was that we were both talking about the old flip phones, like the Motorola Razors and stuff like that. Those are fucking durable phones. And
yeah.
my old flip phone lasted me 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, and the only reason why I even upgraded to a smartphone was because they didn't have any more flip phones and stuff like that. And I was just like, God, these kids and their internet
their technology.
Even though I was one of those kids. Like, so that's one thing that I really hate, because like, and also just adulting in general just sucks. Because like, I just got paid Friday, and I had like I got a good, like, decent paycheck from both my since I'm working 2 jobs, and like just from paying my bills and like getting the new phone, I had to get an oil change, and I also had to replace all my filters in my car.
Yeah.
Like, I spent almost $500 on just bills in one fucking day. I'm just like, fuck. I did more than just those 2 things. I'm just saying, those were like just the 2 examples. I was just like, God damn, like, it's just, being an adult sucks.
It's our population increased, all that jazz.
I know.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's kind of like, that was just like my most disappointing thing, like, from then. Something I love, besides that, it was actually a pretty good weekend, because, like, this is going into something I love, but, like, my birthday's coming up, which I'm super stoked about. Yeah. But, like, what I'm really excited, because, like, even though I don't really have the PTO for it, but I'm taking, like, 5 days off from my jobs, and, like, just to kind of relax and stuff. And so I'm gonna, like, go down to Denver on my actual birthday, because it's on a Wednesday this month, and go see my mom and some people down in Denver.
Gotta apologize, sir, for the whole mattress thing.
No. And we'll pick up my, like, late Christmas / early birthday present from my stepdad. He got me a electronic drum set. I don't remember if I actually mentioned this on the podcast before, but
No, you haven't.
Okay, yeah, he got me an electronic drum set, and so I'm gonna pick that up. Pick up my new at least the chairs for my mine and Harrison's new dining room table set, and then I'm actually gonna try and go down and see my dad, so Dev and Audrey can meet him for the first time, which I haven't seen my dad in a long time, so I'm really excited about that. And then this weekend, Dev actually got me an early birthday present. She got me the first volume of, like, the Rick and Morty comics.
Yeah.
Which I'm really excited about, because it's not like the Game of Thrones comics where it's just rehashing the story. They're actually their own separate adventures, so it's kind of like almost filling in the gaps of the adventures that they have outside of the show.
Yeah.
Excuse you. So I'm kind of excited about that, because, like, I looked through a little bit of it and it looks really good.
Yeah, and it's an expansive universe, so that's good that they're actually doing it through a comic book form.
And Oni does it, and they're the guys who wrote the Scott Pilgrim versus the World comics.
Oh.
So I'm really excited about that. Because I love the Scott Pilgrim comics.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. So, and then also, like, going down to Denver, hanging out with you, Lauren, and Aaron.
Yeah.
Like, that's always a good time, because, like, because I know Audrey loves hanging out with Aaron, and, like, Aaron loves hanging out with Audrey, so it's always, like, good to see them hanging out with each other.
Yeah, they had a ton of fun until, like, Aaron, like, opened the door on Audrey. That was funny.
Scared the shit out of her.
That was funny.
Yeah. But, yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I'm also excited. We're going to go see Flogging Molly and Dropkick tomorrow.
It's going to be great.
I'm so excited for that.
Dream tour continues.
Yeah, and that's because that was
I think it's been like 27 years since they've done that, or has it been less than that? I don't know,
but the fact that, like, they're playing together, I'm so excited. You'd think that would be something they do a little more often, but
they never do. So it's definitely a show that's going to be worth the ticket price.
Oh yeah, I'm just surprised that Dropkick's closing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tight fucking show.
I know.
You know they're going to get crazy.
Uh-huh.
And here's the actual living dead corpse of Johnny Cash.
Yeah, we're so, what? He's not even Irish.
This is great. I hit my time brains. I walk the brains.
Yeah. What about you, Matt? What's something you love, something you hate?
Oh, I'm gonna end on something I love. I know I've been doing that recently, but so first off, the thing I want to talk about that I hate is...
Sorry not to interrupt you. I like how you always go before you talk about the thing you hate.
Because I'm kind of like an engine. I have to, like, let my exhaust out first before I get really going. and you're, because you're going to jump on this with me. I know you are. So I'm mad at fanatics again this time. Specifically, Star Wars fanatics.
Oh, my God.
So I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so much so that I've gotten the Millennium Falcon tattooed on my left forearm, along with, and I've loved Star Wars. Like, I grew up watching it with my dad, and I just love that entire universe. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of the prequels, and like I'll go on a rant about Jar Jar Binks, but that's not the rant I'm going on today. What I'm going on is the rant. My rant's going to be against the harassers that targeted the actress who played Tran in the movies, in the most recent movies, and they just hated her role. And I know there was some pushback that nobody understood why there had to be another love interest or a love interest in general in the movie. But, like, they took it way beyond the point of just, like, saying, like, oh, I didn't feel like be part of it. They took it to misogynistic, racist levels. And that is purely fucked up. And I'm not even going to get into everything they've said because I don't want to give them that, attention that they want. The fact of the matter is if you're a fan that goes on to racist, misogynistic, rants to why you hate something in universe, go fuck yourself royally, because you are not a goddamn fan of that universe. Because if you're a fan, so here's the thing, like, I don't want to come off hypocritical. I'm always a person that says, criticize the things you love so those things can continue to be better. But this wasn't just normal criticism. This was hate. This was so much hate. And, I applaud everyone that has stood by her. Even Mark Hamill and Stephen Colbert, who stood by her. Because it's just absurd. She took on this role that she didn't know if it was going to land or sink. And, she took on with excitement and enthusiasm, put herself out there. And she just got royally shit on.
Talking about Rose, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I liked her.
I think I got the names wrong, so that's my mistake. I do apologize. It's super fucking. It just infuriates me because I hate elitists in anything, and like this I'm going to include as elitist because it's like you can't do anything, you can't have creativity, and that makes me fucking angry. Like, because like I understand you don't want to make something so creative and change it from what it used to be and the feeling it used to have, but fact of the fucking matter is that you paid to go see that movie and you're going to see these movies, and I understand you want to criticize them, but to take it to that level of hate is just utterly insulting. Like,
well, like we're also talking about like a fucking elitist fan base that got Daisy Ridley to like almost drop off of like her social media sites. They got her. They got George Lucas to pretty much get rid of his franchise and stuff like that.
And look, we all give George Lucas shit, but you guys need to grow the fuck up. Seriously.
Like
even I can admit it's just a fucking movie.
Yeah, like get off your shit. It's like the fucking Rick and Morty elitist rant that I went on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and it's just like, yes, I get Star Wars has a giant fan base, and like not every movie is going to be perfect. Like you can't make a movie that everyone's
I love The Last Jedi, and I will argue that to a T that it's probably one of the best they made in a long fucking time.
Oh, I liked it.
It was fucking fantastic, and people need to grow the fuck up.
Like, don't get me wrong, I had like, especially after talking to one of my friends, like I kind like some of the issues that I have with it. I kind of understand. Like, I didn't care too much about like when he explained the ending to me. I was just like, oh, it kind of ruins it. The fact that it doesn't change anything. Yeah. In the very end, and like I thought I liked Rose's character. Yeah. Like I definitely think that could be like I agree. I personally think that either her or Finn should have died in that one scene. Yeah. Just because it would have made better, but like I don't care that they made another love story. It gives Finn something because he was like nothing in that movie basically.
Well, look at the fucking fact here. Like yeah, I understand we don't have to have a love story, but it's kind of fucking nice because one thing that made the original trilogy so great was the fact that there was a fucking love story.
Yeah, with Han and Leia.
And I hate the whole excuse. Oh well, they're repeating, the original films, and I'm like, fucking then you do it. You write a successful fucking script for Star Wars, and you send it in, and let's see if they make it a movie. And if they do, then I owe you a fucking apology. Yeah, but if they don't, maybe shove it up your fucking ass and get over it. Yeah, so it's
like, fuck off. Like, just fuck off. Like, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. A lot of people enjoyed it.
Yeah, it just makes me so goddamn angry. It just... Yeah.
Well, that's why we can't have anything nice.
No, apparently. That is literally why we can't have anything nice.
Yeah. And, back off her. She was I liked her. I liked Rose. I thought she was good.
Yeah, it just, fuck off, people.
Yeah. If you're elitist for that stuff and you're going to argue about, especially, the elitists that started off, getting all pissy that we're going to be following a female Jedi now, I bet you were the assholes that were super excited, hoping that when you found out that Leia was Darth Vader's daughter, hoping to see her actually use the Force and shit like that. And now we're actually following a female Jedi. Yeah. Fuck you.
And then when Leia does use the Force, people bitch about that.
Yeah,
And
like,
then,
I thought that was dope.
It was fucking great. They're probably the same people that complained about the all-female cast for Ghostbusters, about them being females, and they're probably the same people that complain about the all-female cast for Ocean's 11. Like, fuck off. Like, the Ocean's movies aren't that fucking great. Well, so what if they're gonna have a female cast? And so what if Ghostbusters had a female cast? What's the big fucking deal?
Yeah, like, the fact that they're all female, so what? Like, they're great actresses.
Like, you really think Dan Aykroyd and fucking Bill Murray are gonna come and do another Ghostbusters movie? Dude, they're fucking old and retired.
Yeah.
Like,
and they were all for the all-female cast.
Yeah, fanatics just piss me off because they don't even understand what they're mad about anymore.
No, they just want to be pissy.
Yeah,
and just be like,
that's one reason.
They just want they're just kind of be. I know it's technically ageist, but I work with a lot of old people. They're basically just trying to find something to be mad about.
Yeah, but going on forward to things I love. Is, I love the new Halloween trailer movie.
Oh my god,
I love the new Halloween trailer. Yeah, it looks fucking exciting. The thing that gave me chills was Jamie Lee Curtis saying, I've been waiting for him to get back out so I can finally finish him off.
Right? Like, I'm so happy it's totally retconning.
Like, I just jumped up, I was like, it's going down!
Yeah. Go Jamie Lee! I'm super excited that it just retcons fucking Resurrection.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. I'm so fucking excited.
And like just that opening shot where you see Michael just standing in the middle of the fucking like
it's so unsettling and it's perfect.
I'm just like, oh shit.
And
and they like approach him. Yeah, I was just like, oh shit. Don't do that.
And he just don't. Like, I was waiting for him to break it off his chains and be like, Michael, smash.
I know. I'm so excited for this movie. So excited. And I love that like Danny McBride's like tied to help writing it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And who's the Kevin Smith, right? No, not Kevin Smith.
No, I don't remember, but
it's a guy who's mostly known for comedies.
Yeah, I don't remember. I really don't remember. But it
looks great.
It's gonna be fucking sick. It's gonna be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm really excited that we have bands coming on the show to do some interviews.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys don't remember, we talked about this a little bit ago. We were thinking about starting a new segment where we're going to be interviewing punk bands.
And I updated the listeners with an audio like update about the segment as well.
Yeah. So yeah, we're super excited about it. We're going to be interviewing a band tomorrow, and we got a couple more that we got lined up in the next couple weeks. So
yeah, and so to specify again, if you are in a band or know of a band or a musician who's ready, to get a little more exposure, please send us your info at punkrockhorrorpodcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, and we'll do what we can, like try and schedule an interview with you, and
yeah, and really the whole thing we get out of this is exposure and the fact that we get to talk to some amazing bands, and that's really it. Like, I understand. Yeah. We understand, the whole, if it's free, then it's too good to be true. But literally, that's just what we get out of this.
Yeah, it's to help us get exposure, help you get exposure, and like we always say, we're huge punk rock fans, and like punk rock music. Like, I honestly like the ones that started out in garage bands and stuff like that, and
yeah,
like
and
help them get a leg up.
And shit, and when we even get like hardcore metal bands that want to come on, like that's also very humbling and exciting too.
Yeah, so, if you just know anyone that just wants, get a little bit of exposure, we just want to learn more about them and talk to them.
Yeah, so again, send in your band's name and info to our email, punkrockhorrorpodcast at gmail.com.
Yep.
So that being said, we need to definitely jump into this because we wasted more time than we usually do.
Yeah. And I got a lot about this movie, even though it's super short.
Yeah. I know, weird, right?
I know, it's like you always pick the long ones.
I do. Mine's 2 hours and 3 minutes. I thought it was 2 hours and 30 minutes. But
mine was 94, including credits.
I get it. Yeah, I don't know why. I always do pick the longest ones, though, for some reason.
No, I think Antichrist is longer than yours.
Okay, you had one. It doesn't count.
Out of our 22 episodes.
Okay, you don't get to be that guy.
I'm going to. I just did.
It's just like, I had one too, and I was part of it.
I'm that guy. I'm involved.
I helped.
So, just before I do my review, what's really funny that I love about when I do my movies?
What?
9 times out of 10, I make Harrison and or Dev watch them with me. Every time.
I watch them by myself. No one watches them with me.
I force them.
Oh.
Like, so like when I was watching Antichrist, I made Harrison buy it off of his Amazon. I just gave him the money, and he was just sitting down here like super high and watching it. Oh my god! Like it almost turned into a comedy because he was just like, like at some of the super intense scenes.
Yeah, Punk Rock Ian reached out to us and he's like, that movie sounds fucking intense. I was like, yeah, Cody was a little shook for a while after that.
And like, honestly, it's not until the last 30 minutes that it really starts to fuck with you, man. Like,
and I do have to fulfill my promise. I did actually post to Twitter a picture of, what movie I was doing a review for. And I did say, if you can guess it, I will shout your name out on the podcast. And they did, and so I will live up to my promise on our Twitter. So, I said, up late writing another movie review for the podcast. If you can guess what it is, we will give you a shout-out on the next week's Friday episode. And so that's this Friday episode, the one you're listening to right now, obviously. And I have to be fair. So from Jenna at Headless Stark, she called it, I was doing the review for Orphan. So, obviously, you guys know that now because we talked about it in the Monday episode. But she got it right. And then Mixed Kid Fridays also tweeted us again. Or like, Orphan? Maybe? But so, yeah, that is correct. Good job, Jenna. Pat yourself on the back and brag about it.
Yeah.
All right, Cody, go for it.
All right, cool. So, I did The Unborn. And so, man, they just... Very small IMDb. No, I got that. You didn't have to point at it.
I'm just trying to help.
I was just like laughing really hard because this is a very short synopsis that they gave it. So it goes, a young woman fights the spirit that is slowly taking possession of her.
Oh, that's specific.
I know. It kind of helps because I'll talk about like the cool subject that I found out about it. It's directed by David S. Goyer, and it was written by David S. Goyer. It stars Odette Annabelle, Gary Oldman, Cam Gigandit. Mm-hmm. And one funny thing that like threw me off is that Idris Elba is actually in it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it threw me in because I was making Harrison and Dev watch it with me, but like Harrison was like, "Isn't that Idris Elba?"
Hard down.
Yeah, and so like it didn't get very good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic, but what's really funny is
I'll be back. I gotta take a shit after one.
Really? You couldn't have done that beforehand?
Podcast over.
No, it's just because you don't want to hear me talk anymore. Let's see how it is. Whatever, but anyways, going off my thing, while it didn't get good reviews from then, it actually got a pretty good Google reviews. So like every user review, like it was about a 70% positive rating. But so I'm talking about The Unborn. Again, that's what I'm saying. Ha 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 ha, because I'm all nervous now that Matt had to leave to poop. Nothing. I was just giving you crap. I was like, I got all nervous now, so I repeated the thing because you had to leave me to poop.
Fine, I'm back.
So I honestly, this is only the second time that I watched this movie because I remember I watched it way back in 2009. Was the first time I saw it, and I remember.
10 years now.
Yeah, I know. Don't you feel old?
Oh God.
One thing I liked about that, the little CGI that they have actually held up pretty well in this movie.
Really?
Like, really, really well. Like I know 2009 had some, like, good visual effects, but, like, sometimes you could tell they're dated. This one had really good visual effects. I totally called it. But sorry, I just saw some in the thing. But anyways, so you're following... just to go off a little bit more of the actual synopsis is that you're following this girl, and it starts off where she's having this dream. And you don't really can't tell it's a dream yet because I was really confused. But she sees this little boy that she's on this run, and then this little boy is like super. You can tell he's like ghostly because he's all pale white and everything. And she turns around and sees him, and then all of a sudden he turns into a dog wearing like a kid's face mask.
Oh, I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the very beginning, and then she ends up following the dog into the forest, and I was like, "Why?"
Oh yeah, because that's a great idea.
Yeah, and I was like, "Why white people?"
Look, LSD makes you do weird things.
I know, but then you find out it was a dream because like she's talking, she ends up talking to her friend about it, and she's telling her like what
Even
are
in
these
a dream,
dreams.
fuck that.
Yeah, I understand, but unless you can actually control your dreams, like
Fuck that.
because well, she talks to her friend, and her friend's extremely superstitious. Like she grew up in a very superstitious household and stuff like that.
Of
and
course.
so, a couple of the nods that they actually do about it, so it ends up.
Oh, I'll tell you later. It's
Okay.
funny.
Thanks for interrupting me.
Sorry,
you know.
man. Sorry.
God.
I did my best.
So that. Now I lost my train of thought. Thanks.
sorry,
I hate
man.
myself.
Do you want to come back later? We'll just do yours after I do mine.
Podcast over.
It's 11 at night. We can
I
do
know.
this.
But some things that I really liked about it is that it actually, one thing that I really liked about it is that it did a lot of the cliches, very unconventional.
Okay.
So like, there's a scene in the movie where she hears a tapping behind her glass mirror,
Oh, I know
and
what scene you're
so
talking
she
about.
opens the mirror. There's nothing, and so you're like, oh, it's gonna be behind her, and she closes the mirror, nothing, and then it goes on to the next scene.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, all right, maybe it'll
Okay.
happen next time. And then it happens again, and she opens it, nothing, and closes it, nothing's behind her. So I was like, okay, cool. Because I remember this scared the shit out of me the first time, because it was like the third time is when she opens it, and you're like, thinking she's going to open it all pissed off, and nothing's going to be there, she's going to close it, and then it's there. Nope. Opens it, fucking demon child, like, right in the, like, inside the cupboard.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, fuck! Because, back then, like, horror movies didn't really make me jump. And I remember the reason why I like this movie so much is because, like, it was the first horror movie to really get me scared.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it didn't help that, like, my girlfriend at the time also was, like, a little baby when it came to horror movies. And so she was jumping at everything, so it was, like, also making me intense and stuff. But that was one thing that I like, is kind of took some cliches and it just kind
It's
of,
like a fresh twist on them.
yeah, like, it even... Like, it did, even though it's PG-13, like, it had like, I felt like an unneeded sex scene just thrown in there, because she's, like, talking to her boyfriend, and she was just like, so my dad's not going to be at home this weekend.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say, like, they were talking while they were having sex. Like,
No.
like,
Well,
my
I mean...
dad's not home this weekend. Oh, yeah, that's great. How'd your test go? Oh, good.
But, because they're, yeah. But, like, and it just shows them having sex and stuff, and I was just like, oh, I mean, all right, that doesn't help anything, but it actually, like, ties into the end,
Okay.
like, really well. And I was just like, at the end of the movie, I was like, now I feel like an asshole, because I was just like, why the fuck is that there? And then it ties into the end of the movie. And then so I'm gonna kind of spoil the twist a little bit, but you find out that, like, she had a twin brother that died in the womb. And so, because she ends up going to the eye doctor because one of her friends point out that her eye is, like, slowly changing. One of her irises is slowly changing to another color, and the doctor's like, "Did you have a twin? Because this is very normal for twins."
Right.
And so she's like, "No, I'm an only child." And she talks to her dad, and he's like, "Yeah, your brother died in the womb."
Oh, funny thing
So-
I forgot to mention.
Yeah, right.
Your
so that was
entire
like,
life.
so that was one thing that agitated me, because, like, it's like one of those things. Like, I feel like you should tell your child at some point, like, yeah, you have a dead brother because you killed him in the womb, because
Yeah.
her umbilical cord is what choked him. Like, she was like,
You
it was
murderer.
Yeah, and so that's why she's being haunted by this ghost. And one thing they do really well is that they use not only the dead kid, like the dead child, as, like, the scare factor. They make the creep factor with a living child who's, like, 4 years old, and they do this, like, so there's this superstition where if infant sees a reflection before they turn 1, it'll die. It means it's gonna die soon.
I've never heard of that.
No.
No,
I've
I'm
heard of it.
serious.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a superstition that an infant shouldn't see their reflection before they're 1.
Why?
Just cause, like, I don't know, like, cause mirrors are considered gateways to another universe,
Oh,
like,
okay.
type thing.
I get what you're saying.
And so an infant could be technically used as a portal, if it sees their reflection, like,
Yeah.
a demon's gonna come and kill it,
Okay.
because it has no access or process of, like, anything of nowadays,
Okay.
or, like, any religion, whatever. And so, like, so you see this 4-year-old boy that the main character's babysitting, and he's like standing above his little sister's room, crib, who isn't even one yet, and he's holding a mirror in her face, and he's like, look at it, look at it, look at it, look at it. And then when the like girl like touches his shoulder, he like flips the fuck out, smashes the mirror in her face, and goes, Jimby wants to be born now. Yeah, I was just like, fuck. And so
God,
they use like the kid stuff like really well in this movie, like just making the corruption of innocence. Because one thing that I really liked about this movie is because it's ghosts and you're like, and it talks about religion and stuff, is that it's actually Jewish. So it talks about a Jewish demon, the Dybbuk.
Okay, Gesundheit, but okay.
Yeah. Because most of the time when you see like exorcism movies and stuff like that, you're thinking more along the lines of, demons, like Pazuzu, the devil, and stuff like that. And this one's actually a really cool take on that. It talks about Jewish religion and Jewish demons. And so I thought that was kind of cool because it's not really touched on. What was I going?
Okay, I found it now. The Dybbuk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, in Jewish mythology, a Dybbuk is a malicious, possessing spirit believed to be the dislocated soul of a dead person. It supposedly leaves the host body once it's accomplished its goal, sometimes after being helped.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and another cool thing, so I always forget the name of the movie, but there's another like kind of more popular movie that talked about Jewish demons and the Dybbuk.
Oh, was that was it Michael Dean Clark?
Yeah.
I think that's his name. I'll look it up.
Yeah, but there's that one, and like so when they do the exorcism in that, because it doesn't really touch on Jewish religion a whole lot in that one. In this one, they touch on it a lot. Like, so when she figures out that it's a Dybbuk, she goes to a rabbi, and then like they actually talk about the Dybbuk and the Jewish religion a little bit more, and having to use a Jewish exorcism to get rid of it. And then and they actually pull through with it. And like the thing that like is really crazy with the other 4-year-old is like a little bit of a spoiler, but he gets hit by the main character's friend's car, like hardcore, and he flips over the car and everything, and the chick gets out to check on him, and he's standing up totally fine. And it's the same 4-year-old that showed his little sister the mirror.
Okay.
And so you find out throughout the whole movie that a Dybbuk goes through channels of possession.
Oh my God, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. That's his name.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Why did I say Michael Dean Clark? The fuck did I get that from?
I thought you said Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
No, I said Michael Dean Clark because I'm a fucking
whatever.
idiot.
But like it actually goes into details of a Dybbuk by like it goes through waves of possession. So it possesses something small, and then it gradually goes up to like what it's trying to possess. Like because it uses potato ants. So like the Dybbuk possesses a potato ant to scare the main character. And then it possesses the child because the child is innocent.
The possession,
yeah. And then it slowly moves up to like different styles of possession just to scare the main character so it could finally inhabit her. And then like another cool thing is so the way that it also relates into Judaism, I felt like it was a little unneeded, but it throws in the Holocaust in there, and but a cool fact that I wouldn't say cool, but like horrible fact about the Holocaust is that whenever the Nazis in the camps, they found twins because they were trying to like create the Ubermensch and stuff like that. Whenever they found twins, they used to do a lot more hardcore genetic research on them. Like they were thinking they're the next step in genetics because they're identical, completely identical. And so they tied that into the story, and that's how the Dybbuk came in, is that the grandmother of the main character, she talks about how her identical twin brother, when they were on an internment camp, got possessed by a Dybbuk from the experiments.
Okay.
And that's how like the Dybbuk came in.
Wow.
So that was one thing that was another thing that I really liked.
There's like a lot of like Jewish mythological lore.
Yeah,
that's way more than I thought. That's intense.
I know, and that's what I like about it is they go into semi decent detail. I feel like I honestly think the movie should have been a little bit longer, so it could have gone in more with that. But it definitely goes in more than the possession did.
Yeah,
like, And but one thing that I didn't like, it stayed with one of the cliches. So before you find out she's the grandmother, like the main character, like it's said in the beginning, her mother committed suicide, and she had the twin eye thing going on.
Off-colored eye.
Yeah. And you find out that she had a twin, and then she goes and she was doing research on this old lady, and then like the girl has a picture where it shows her mom pregnant, and then the little boy that's like the demon boy, you see him in a reflection in the mirror. Okay. And so then she goes and like shows the when she first talks to the old lady, she's like, "Did you know my mom?" And she's like, "I didn't know your mom." And then she shows her the picture. She's like, "Well, my mom was researching you." And she shows her the picture, and then she's like, "Get the fuck out!" Like when she sees the picture, and then
I can't get the like image out of my head of her like, "Do you know my mom?" Yeah, I know your mom.
No, she goes, "I didn't know your mom." Oh. And then like she shows her the picture, and the old lady flips out and says like, "Get out of here." And then that night, because like the girl's talking about how she's being followed by a demon and stuff like that, and so the old lady calls her that night and goes, "Actually, I'm your grandma, and that's a Dybbuk." And so I'm just kind of like,
she's like Gesundheit.
Okay, if you knew that was your granddaughter, why the fuck didn't you just start talking to her about this stuff in the beginning? Like, come on.
I don't know. Probably. No, I'm not going to bring up another movie.
That was just saying, like, that's one thing that, like, I got really frustrated with. I was like, oh my god, if you knew that was family, like, and she's being followed by the same demon that got to your daughter, and she's now going after your granddaughter, why didn't you just say it from the beginning? Kind of thing.
You know, I feel like I should have a good joke for this, and I don't, because that's really fucking dumb.
Yeah, and she was like, well, we all had twins, because you find out the Dybbuk possessed her great uncle, which is her grandmother's brother. Right. So they were all twins. And then her mom had a twin who died at birth, and then she had a twin that died at birth. And so it's like, and this Dybbuk is following their family line the entire time. The other thing that pissed me off is that she has a extremely superstitious friend who tries to talk about all these different ways of like trying to like ward off evil ghosts, like trying to ward off the demon before they even know what it is. The entire time she's like, "You're crazy. Just stop all this." Like the superstitious friend who you think would be following with her, like going along with all this, like, oh shit. She's the one going like, "No, you're stupid. This isn't real. You need to go get help and like go to a doctor, go to a therapist." I'm like, you're the one who's like actually believes in this stuff, and you're the one telling her she's stupid. And yet her boyfriend, who's kind of like jockish, like he's like shown as jockish, entire, like he's not in a whole lot of the movie, but the entire time he's just like, "All right, babe, what's next? Like, how can I help?" Like the entire movie, whenever he's in, he's like, "I believe you," instead of her best friend, who's a superstitious one. Yeah. Yeah. So that was another thing that kind of like agitated me about it. And then, like I said, I feel like it didn't get its story all the way across. I feel like that was one big reason that it didn't do as well with critics and stuff. So I feel like it could have been, if it was a little bit longer, so it could have delved a little bit more into the story, because it does, like, in the end, it's kind of pushed along, because she goes to the rabbi and she says she needs help. And this is another con that I had. She like brings this book. It's like a Jewish book about mirrors and talking about the Dybbuk and stuff like that. Yeah. And she can't read it because even though she's like Jewish bloodline, she doesn't know Hebrew. She brings it to the rabbi, and he was just like, "Oh, you're stupid, like whatever." And she's just like, "Here, translate for this for me." And he's like, "Okay." I'm kind of like, "You're what?" Like he's just like, "All right, yeah, I'll do it."
Pick a speed.
Yeah. And like he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And then he gets visited by the Dybbuk, by like this upside down faced dog, like, and he knows it, like that's when he knows it's real. And then when he agrees to help her, she's like, "Why are you helping me all of a sudden?" And because like he gets visited to it while he's actually translating the book, and then and she's like, "Do you believe me now?" He's like, No, I don't believe you. I just felt like I need to help you.
I had a fucking free hour.
Yeah. and then he throws in. So this is one thing that I thought was kind of cool about like an because it ends up becoming an exorcism movie, is that he talks about how he has this Catholic priest friend who's going to help him with the exorcism. And she's like, "Well," and then she's like, "But she kind of points out like, well, this is a Jewish thing." And he goes, "Listen, demons don't follow religion.
I literally got a Hindu dude in the back
because
just in case.
Because like, and Idris Elba's character, who's the priest, he's like talking to her because like she says like, well, I'm not Catholic, and this isn't like a Catholic thing; it's a Hebrew thing. And he's just like, listen, demons don't follow religion. Let's be honest; they more than likely predate this stuff.
Look, man, honestly, I just don't want to talk to this
Yeah.
chick anymore. Can you just fucking do this for me?
So
make up a line. I don't care. I really want to go get high. And just...
yeah, because like I thought that was actually really cool. The fact that they kind of point that out, where they're like, demons don't give a fuck what religion you are. Like, come on. Just because you throw holy water on it doesn't mean it's going to be like... It's like, you got to do the right... Just like, you just got to do the right thing to get rid of it.
Oh, no, not Jewish demons. It's like WWE.
Yeah.
Just like it's a tag team
Get
tournament.
the foreign object!
Hit them with the Christianity!
Yeah. And so, like, they point out some cool... Like, they point out some... And they definitely point out... When they're doing the exorcism, they point out some flaws that happen in other exorcism movies. But, I mean, shit goes sideways, like, instantly when they start doing the exorcism. But, like, the priest...
It's like it's a Jewish demon or something.
So what happens, like, they kind of touch on the legal aspects of it. So, like, you know, the movie, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, where, like, it's the priest that's on trial for it because he technically didn't get consent for it. Like, Idris Elba's character sets up a camcorder, and he's like, we're doing an exorcism of... I always forget the name. Casey. Her name is Casey. And he's like, we're going to do an exorcism of Casey. Casey, do you give consent to do this exorcism? She just nods. He's like, I need vocal... consent from you. Yes, I agree to this. And then, like, he has this gurney, and one of the guys, her boyfriend goes, what's the gurney for? He's like, well, if this is an actual thing, it's to protect her from, because she's going to be thrashing out. He's like, to protect her and to protect us from her. And so I was like, yeah, that makes sense. like, that kind of makes sense of why you would want to do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and so... I don't want to get the ending away because, like, I remembered why I never watched it. Like, I didn't really remember it a whole lot in the beginning, even though I loved it. I remember I hated the ending. And then when the ending played out, it's because it feels like it just ends. Like, I know it has a satisfying ending, but the music that plays behind it and just stuff like that, like, it just ends. And I'm just kind of like... And, like, the ending shows why there had to be the sex scene and stuff like that. I guess that kind of gives away, like, why. But it just... All of a sudden, it just ends.
Yeah.
Like, and it just kind of felt like an unsatisfying ending. Not like, you know, the bad guy wins type thing. It just kind of derp.
No, I get what you're saying.
So, but I actually really recommend this movie, especially if you want a fresh take on like a possession or like a haunting type movie where it's not just like, if you want to learn a little bit more like other styles of haunting, like I said, Judaism and stuff like that, because they actually touch on the Jewish lore of the book.
And it's also a more unique, terrifying child horror movie.
Yeah, especially because it uses children and twins. Like, especially twins, but the fact that the demon the entire time looks like a child instead of, like, it already possessing a child. It's trying to get to that possession point.
Yeah.
So, I highly recommend it. At least one watch through. I will say you might be disappointed in the ending, but, yeah. So.
Yeah, indeed.
A couple fun facts. All right, the bugs in this movie, so the ants that you see in the movie, they're actually potato bugs or Jerusalem crickets. So again, it points out into the Judaism into it. Because
even with the bugs.
Yep, even with the bugs, they touch with Jerusalem crickets, which I think is really cool. Because if you don't know, the main religion in Jerusalem is Judaism.
Okay.
Rabbi, another fun fact, Rabbi Sendak's name is a reference to Maurice Sendak, writer of children's classic. Oh, cool. Writer of children's classic Where the Wild Things Are. That's pretty cool.
You're just really...
Sorry, I like that.
No, you're just, like, really pleased by that.
Yeah. This is cool. This was actually the first horror movie from Michael Bay's... That makes sense now. Michael Bay's Platinum Dunes production company to be rated PG-13.
Oh, especially if you look at the some of the cover like posters for this movie, it shows her in her underwear and really emphasizes her ass. So.
I know, and that's literally one scene. She's on underwear in one scene.
I mean, if it's Michael Bay's company,
yep,
I guess that makes sense.
Yep, and it's actually not even. She's not actually over sexualized either, which I actually really liked.
Oh man.
Like, yeah, I know. But like, I mean, even though it's PG-13, but like, it wasn't like she wasn't super over sexualized or anything and stuff. But like, I don't know. I kind of like that, especially because like, you know, normally when you're following the main character, she does have some kind of like sexualization to her. Besides that, she is an attractive person.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like it doesn't do any of that except for the sex scene and then that one scene where she's in her underwear.
You know, I have to say, when you kept saying Jewish demon, I did imagine like a demon, but like in the regular like rabbi get up with the hat and like the curls.
Demon come.
Oy vey.
My stepdad's Jewish, so I can make these jokes. So is my grandpa.
Hey, you don't need to prove anything to me. You don't owe these people anything. You stay strong.
Yeah. So mine definitely went on a lot longer than I thought it would.
Yeah, I'll fix it in editing.
My bad. I know, you're just going to nix all of my talk.
All right. So, now my turn. I did...
Oh, is it?
Here we fucking go. So, mine's Orphan, which came out in the same year as Unbroken in 2009.
Unborn. You said Unbroken.
Unborn. Fuck this. Podcast over.
You said that more this time than I usually do.
I know. It's late at night.
I'm okay. Who hurt you?
Fucking Orphan did. The movie. To be specific, I don't want to offend anyone. At least certain people. Anyways. So yes, I did 2009's Orphan, which came out the same year as Unborn.
Thank you.
And the director is Juan Claudette Serra. I think it's Juan. Written by David Leslie Johnson. David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. And then Alex Mace. Sorry, there was just a lot of shit going on there. Stars Vera Farmiga, Peter Sarsgaard, and Isabel Furman.
Oh, Peter, the other Sarsgaard.
The other Sarsgaard. And then the synopsis is a husband and wife who recently lost their baby adopt a 9-year-old girl who is not nearly as innocent as she claims to be. What?
Sorry, I just had to do that. That's usually what that means.
What?
I don't know. I hate myself, honestly, right now. I really do.
I'm just really confused what's happening.
Don't worry about it. I'm tired.
Okay.
I really hate myself.
So,
I'm just gonna go
it's okay.
myself.
You can take a break. I'll take over. So, pros. First and foremost, I want to point this out. So, I did the math, and Isabel Furman was about 10 or 11 years old when she played this role. And because of that, I really want to point out the fact that she does a fantastic job at playing the role of Esther. Like, and I'll go on more to explain why she does such a great job, but I really want to point this out in the beginning. But going forward, this movie in general does a great job at slowly showing the toxicity of Esther's character as she slowly infects each part of the family members. So, like, with Peter Sarsgaard character, John, he, becomes more manipulated by her, and her, the girl who plays her sister, her stepsister, becomes obedient, and the son becomes afraid of her, and the mother is going crazy and feeling like she's alone, and you see her just kind of twist and turn all these knobs in this family's life, and just make these family members work the way that she wants them to work. She literally makes them her pawns, and it does a really good job of just slowly showing it how she does this and how she takes the family's mental state and their psychology apart and puts it together for her own benefit. But for a horror movie, I also want to point out this also kind of has a soul to it, with for it being a horror movie, with how it approaches the loss of an infant and substance abuse. And they do very good job at showing this and like showing what substance abuse can be like, and the toll it can have on a person, and it's the same thing with loss of an infant, and I mean, like, it doesn't like go full on into like substance abuse, but it does touch on it in an appropriate manner, where like I feel like there's a lot of horror movies, or even movies in general, that don't do a very good job of doing it that justice. And so that's why I do feel like this movie does have a bit of a soul to it in that aspect. in the house this movie is set in is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I'm not gonna lie, one of the best things about this movie is the like wide shots of the house. It's absolutely beautiful, and I just it's literally like a dream house. It's just insane. And you know, and I'm a big fan of like seeing, you know, beautiful houses. I mean, going back to, you know, when my review of The Haunting and how much I've lost my shit over the mansion.
Yeah. God damn it! That's a beautiful house.
My dick is so hard.
I just want to, just all over the house.
Oh god, yeah. And this is also a very well placed. This movie has a very well placed atmosphere with its macabre atmosphere throughout the whole movie, because, you know, a lot of the shots and a lot of, you know, the colors in this movie are very dark tones, very, you know, rainy day, gray, dark, black tones, which adds to, you know, Esther when she comes in as a story element, showing that not only is she like infecting the family, but she's affecting the world that surrounds the family. Like in the playground scene, like the playground itself looks normally darker than it normally would, and I feel like that really adds to this nature that Esther's character brings into the movie. And although Esther's, you know, wall art is extremely creepy and unsettling, it's actually very intricate and really well done. I mean, yeah, sure, like there's pictures of women, you know, cutting children's heads off and like monsters and people being stabbed in the head, but I was actually really impressed with like how intricate.
That 9-year-old got talent.
I mean, she's fucking insane, but it's, you gotta appreciate the artwork. You know, and although she is demented and evil, she's definitely a mastermind, which goes back to what we were talking about, the uncanny nature. You know, the unheimlich. You know, with you know, and it's when you see a child this, you know, strategic and much of a mastermind to get what she wants and carry out these evil deeds, it's super unsettling the entire time. Like how you can see her manipulating the father John against Kate the entire movie. Like it puts you in this weird unsettled state, because normally that wouldn't happen. Like the father wouldn't just side with the kid.
Yeah.
Like he would hear the mother out more, and the fact that she was able to figure out those right buttons to push in order to turn him against Kate is extremely unsettling, which makes her far more terrifying.
Yeah.
And so now, you know, one thing that's kind of controversial for this movie is the seduction scene.
Yeah.
Which, going into, I found out that the seduction scene was actually supposed to be a lot more detailed than what it was in the movie, but they cut down a lot of it. So I'm not going to say what the seduction scene is, not because like it's super disturbing or anything like that. It's not. The seduction scene is not as bad as making people, or as people are making out. If people want to know, the worst that it gets is that she kisses him on the cheek like 2 or 3 times and whispers into his ear, into Peter Sarsgaard's ear, "Let me take care of you." That's it. That is like the worst that it gets. You know, but the entire time John's like, "You're a fucking kid. No, what the fuck is wrong with you?" But the reason I'm bringing it up as a pro is because, again, going back to like Isabel Furman, she's about like 10 or 11 in that scene, and she pulls it off so well with being, you know, with such a mature way of a young actress. And Peter Sarsgaard does such a great job at carrying that scene on, and I can only imagine how awkward and how hard of a scene that might be to actually pull off, especially when, you know, it's like an adult and an actual kid.
Yeah,
he's
like, "Well, I can't offer you juice tomorrow anymore. We can't have breakfast now."
Yeah, no, we're gonna take separate break times.
Yeah, like after filming that scene.
Yeah, but they do such a good job with it. Like, and that scene itself, like, it had the potential to come off awkward, and that you could tell that they didn't want to be in that scene. And the fact that they were able to pull it off, it's really astounding. And I do think it deserves its own, respect in that aspect.
Yeah.
And Vera Farmiga, in my opinion, is on her way to becoming a scream queen.
Yeah.
Like, not only is she, you know, play one of the most iconic, you know, demon exorcists ever, but like every horror movie I've seen her in, she's always played it with so much passion and given it so much 100%.
What else is she in?
The Conjuring.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
and Annabelle. I think she's in Annabelle. No. Maybe I'm wrong. No, it's the first two Conjurings, and she's going to be in the Nun movie.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, but yeah, she does such a good job in those roles. Like when she brings her 100%. Like and she like I just love seeing her in these horror movies because she does such a good job with it.
Yeah.
Now onto my cons. I'm a bit mad that during the movie, Peter Sarsgaard's character won't hear out Kate, Vera Farmiga's character, when she's bringing these concerns to John, saying like, she's Esther's lying about this stuff. Esther's doing this. I'm trying to protect my children, and he's like, it's just because you're an alcoholic. It's just because you're not being rational. And like I'm like, dude, she's bringing a lot of major concerns. I think you should kind of fucking relax, because like as a dad, if my wife came up to me and be like, yeah, our kid's fucking lighting animals on fire, we should probably talk about this. Like, you know what, you have a good point, that's a really weird thing for you to bring up, so I think there's something there. And it just kind of makes me mad that John just writes her off and doesn't listen to her. And I understand, that in fairness, that's due to Esther's manipulative nature in the movie. But it's still, I just, as a father that, they've already had two kids, I feel like that's something he should be able to do, is to be able to hear his wife out and give his wife the benefit of the doubt first. Yeah. In this instance. Another con is, so when Sister Abigail comes to their house to be like, yeah, so I found out some more shit about Esther we should probably talk about. Peter Sarsgaard's like, she's 9 and she's an orphan, which I understand. There can be a lot of trauma and a lot of personal baggage that could come with that. But I kind of feel like when a nun comes to you and tells you that your trouble might have a troubling past or nature, maybe that's probably something you really should think about investigating.
Yeah.
Because I just hate it when they're, in movies, the character of wisdom or reasons like, hey, so shit's kind of weird. Maybe we should look into it. And people are like, nonsense, it's in your head. like, I hate it when they play it off like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, and that's just kind of something that really bothered me. And then also there's a scene where, they take Esther to Kate's psychiatrist to get an evaluation, and Esther eventually goes into the bathroom and starts freaking out and banging on the bathroom doors and walls, and she's screaming her head off, and I'm just like, does no one in the psychiatrist's office fucking hear her screaming? Because she's going at it like right now, and she's just like, ah! And that's my terrible impersonation of her scream as she's punching like the patrician walls and whatnot. Yeah, and she's just like, the fact that no one heard her just kind of bothers me. And then when they get back from the psychiatrist's office, John starts this conversation with Kate, which is like, I feel like that psychiatrist said something right. And then like Kate's phone just rings, and he's like, you're gonna get that, and then he walks off. And I was like, you're starting this whole fucking conversation with her, and he just walked off. Like, it's not her fault. Her phone just rang.
He's like, oh yeah,
he's just, how dare you? Also, Esther at some point gets this huge black light, and it's the black light that's on the fish tank. But then I kind of thought about it, and I'm like, why would a black light be on a fish tank? Like, wouldn't it just be a regular light in the fish tank? So I'm like, the fuck did she get a black light from? Was that just a weird gift they gave her in the beginning?
No, she just carries it with her at all times.
Here's this American sign language dictionary. Oh, and here's this artist Edsel. Oh, and I don't know if you're interested in this stuff, but here's a black light. So have fun with this. It's just like, where the fuck did she get a black light from? That kind of bugged the shit out of me. And then the grandma in this movie really just sucks as a babysitter. So like, I was originally gonna hold like, when the brother went up into the treehouse and Esther lit the treehouse on fire, and that the grandmother just didn't notice when the little son walked away. But I was just gonna be like, whatever, I'm not gonna hold that against her. But the scene I do hold against her is that when Max, the daughter, goes to check on Esther, because when they're in the hospital, after that scene that I just mentioned with the treehouse being lighted on fire, the brother, he's waiting in the ICU, and so Esther asks for like $1 to go get soda, but really she's gonna go and finish off the brother supposedly. And so Max is like, I'm gonna go check on Esther, and the two parents aren't around, and the grandma's there, and so the grandma just kind of lets this like 5, 6, 7-year-old little girl go check on this 10-year-old girl or 9 or 10-year-old girl, and she's just like, all right. And it doesn't even fucking follow her, and I'm like, you suck.
Make sure to bring back some caramels.
Bring back some Rolos. And so she just kind of just sucks as a babysitter. I'm like, do you not follow the fucking children? Like, Jesus, woman. Like, get your shit together, Carol.
Come on, Karen.
I don't know what her name is, so I'm calling her Carol.
Yeah.
The CG in this movie is like, you can tell when like it's fake and it doesn't hold up as well. So I mean, it's okay. It doesn't take away too much from the movie, but it is meh, and I do have to point it out because of that. Also, during the climax of this movie, when Esther, and this isn't a spoiler, but Esther turns and they find out a big secret about Esther that explains a lot of the reasons why she is the way she is in this movie, and I'm not going to give a twist away because it's such a good twist. But Kate is hurrying back to the home to stop Esther, and she's driving through all this like blizzard snow, and she finally gets to the home, and yet she sees the house and doesn't stop the car, and just like drives right into the house. And I understand like it's snowy, but she's going up a hill, and yet she still drives into the house, and I'm like, do you not stop when you see a house?
No.
Like,
how do you park?
I'm home.
Where's dinner?
Like, I'm just like, dude, why do you like? And I guess she does hit her brakes, but again, she's going up a hill.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that just doesn't make sense to me. And so I do have a couple WTF semi-spoiler stuff. I do kind of feel bad for Daniel after a while in this movie because he just gets the shit luck the entire time from Esther. So like, fucking, so he's starting to catch on to Esther, be like, she's not my fucking sister and whatnot, and Esther at some point, holds a knife up to him and he pisses himself. She's like, next time I'm gonna cut your little pecker off before you even know what to do with it. And he's just pissing himself. She's like, you pissed yourself. And he's like, yeah, I fucking know. He almost gets burned alive in his treehouse. And then when the dude just wants to get a fucking drink of water, like, the parents just stare at him and he's like, can I just get a drink of water? Can anything in this house be fucking normal for once?
Can I just have one moment of normality?
Just stop fucking staring at me. And then he ends up in the ICU, and just like, Daniel just gets so much shit this entire movie, and he's the brother, and it sucks, and like I feel bad for him. And during the end, when Kate and Esther have their final conflict, they're fighting under frozen water. Well, not frozen water. They're fighting on below temperatures and freezing water.
Yeah.
And I feel like Kate probably should have drowned because they're under freezing water and she gets stabbed. But I'm like, okay, maybe adrenaline kicked in and she's just like fucking going super mom mode. But I still kind of feel like she should have drowned.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know much about drowning in freezing water, but I feel like with how long she was in there, she should have. Mm-hmm. But what I will say is that this is one of the few horror movies that totally justifies its twist. And again, I'm not going to give the twist away because I want our listeners to watch this movie because it is that good.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, believe it or not, this movie was hard to write cons for because during the first half of this movie, the majority of the first half of this movie, like, it's very well written and it's very well thought out. And there's only 2 deaths this entire movie.
Yeah.
And it's so good because, in my opinion, Esther's character is the epitome of unheimlich, of uncanny.
Yeah.
Of something innocent, that there's something wrong with it, and there shouldn't be something wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I love this movie. Because I have watched it numerous times now, and I cannot recommend it more than I already have. It's definitely worth it, and if you're a huge horror fan, you owe it to yourself to watch this movie, because this movie is fantastic. And if you're not a horror fan, please check this movie out, because it deserves way more recognition for the talent that it has in this movie and for the story that it tells. And it's, again, this movie is fan-fucking-tastic, and you're definitely missing out if you haven't watched this movie yet.
Mm-hmm.
So to go on to my trivia, in the screenplay, Esther was described as having fair skin, delicate features, and platinum blonde hair. Although Isabel Fuhrman, Esther, did not fit this description, the filmmakers were so impressed with her audition that they cast her anyway. And the subtle uneasiness of the film's poster is due to the image of Esther's face. It is perfectly symmetrical. Half of her face has been mirrored to form a whole face. Notice the identical twists of hair on each side.
Huh.
Yeah. And there was another one that I really liked that I'm trying to find. So, one thing I did want to point out, I can't find it, but I do remember it, is that Vera Farmiga is actually a skilled pianist. And when she's playing the piano in the movie, obviously it's her playing it. But thing is that she played a whole song, and they cut out the majority of the song and only include the part that you saw in the movie. And actually, she was pissed that they didn't include the whole thing.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, and so that's actually really funny. And the last funny thing is that Vera Farmiga said that the film was appealing in so many ways, but largely because she got a paycheck for once and because she wanted to work with Peter Sarsgaard.
I just want to kind of throw a little couple fun facts about Isabella Fuhrman, the girl who played Esther.
Yeah.
Like, a couple cool things about it. She actually has got a lot of she actually got an award for that movie.
Yeah.
And then she's actually the voice of the enhanced assassin Victoria in Hitman Absolution.
Oh, wow.
From 2012. And she actually auditioned to play Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games.
Yeah, I read that one.
But she didn't get it only because she was 15. She was too young. So she actually almost beat out J-Lo.
Yeah.
J-Law. And then she ended up actually getting a part in it as Clove. And she's the first person to try and kill Katniss.
Yeah, which is dope.
So I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, and fun, cool thing, since I just going to kind of plot. So I talked about Suspiria.
Yeah, I was about to bring it up.
She's actually in the new remake.
Yep.
So I thought that was really cool. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, this girl, she's going to get a lot of work in, the horror, and she's good.
Yeah, I actually really do like Isabel Fuhrman. She's a really good actress.
Yeah, so, I was excited about seeing that.
Yeah, she's also a musician, and her sister is, an indie artist.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah, a lot of talent right there.
Yeah.
All right, then. We're definitely at the end of this episode. That is one thing that is for sure.
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, thank you again for everyone tuning in. If you like what we're doing, please continue to send us those reviews. Like I said, any new reviews we get, we'll read them here on the podcast. If you want to keep up with anything that we're doing and stuff we're talking about, want to participate in our listener participation corner on our Monday episodes, follow us on Twitter at officialphp or on our Facebook, Punk Rock Horror Podcast.
And at our Instagram, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, #PHP Podcast.
If you have a band or know of a band that wants to come on the podcast for an interview, please send your band's name and contact info to our email, punkrockhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. And if you have any strange stories that you want us to read out on our Monday episodes and give our perspectives on, please send them to our email as well.
Because we out.
Yeah, we out, homie.
We out of stories.
So hopefully by the time you're hearing this, in our Monday episode, we actually have some stories for you guys. But yeah. So, again, send all your stories to us, your strange stories, to punkrockhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. We're on every platform. If you're, I think the only thing we're still not on yet is iHeartRadio, and that's basically it. With that being said, I don't think I got anything else. Do you?
Nope.
All right, then. Well, thank you again, people, for tuning in, for hanging out with us. We hope we put some smile on your faces, and like always, podcast over.
Podcast over.
Bye.
Bye.